Well, here we are at the Festival of Dreams 2016, and there's so much action taking place, but tonight we've got a lot of action. Alana Fairchild joins me. How are you, Alana?
I'm really well, Ben. How are you?
Very, very well. A lot's happened in another year. You're busy. I was looking at your website. You're always busy.
I know, they say there's no rest for the wicked, but I think there's no rest for the ones that are trying to do good as well.
Tell me, your career has taken so many twists and turns, but this conscious decision that you made many, many years ago to follow your passion and your heart has paid off, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's gone in directions and to levels that I'd never really anticipated. And I think that's the beauty, isn't it? When you trust the heart, things can happen. We worry that it's going to be bad stuff, but actually we're open to a lot of blessings.
I think what's been interesting this year, 2016, people say, oh, it's a year of endings and there's so much upheaval in the world, and we're seeing that. But I think it's one of those years also when people are now starting to look at their relationships, at life, jobs that they're doing, and they're basically reevaluating everything from every angle, and it's like, you know what, maybe that relationship's not serving me as it should be anymore. And I'm seeing people making conscious decisions of like massive changes, like leaving relationships, moving out, all that stuff. Do you see that happening?
Absolutely, and because it's a 9-year, it's really a wonderful time to sort of take advantage of that inner knowing and act on it and not be afraid. It's really a safe time and at the right time, like surfing a wave, you know, there's that energy for change, so we can move with it.
What causes us to get in touch with that energy? Because a lot of the people aren't into our world, they don't understand this wonderful world that we work in, but is it a subconscious thing, do you think, that's playing out?
I think sometimes it can be the stuff that doesn't seem to be going right that actually is a little bit of a hidden blessing. It can force us to kind of look within and say, does something need to change here? So sometimes it's sort of the, you know, the cloudy storm that then brings the rainbow, I think.
Because you're in the corporate world, can you walk us very quickly through your epiphany moment where you suddenly thought, I've got to make a change out of this?
I always kind of knew within, but there was one moment when I was walking through the office door where I was working at the time, and I just thought, if I force myself to walk through this door, I think I may actually not stop screaming. And I thought, this is probably a good sign that this is not the place that I need to be. Yeah.
And then getting in touch with your spirits and how you channel, was that something that came naturally, you always had, or was it something that you developed after having some of these experiences?
It's a great question. It's a little bit of both. I always had that connection as a young person, and I think most of us do have far more intuition and connection to a greater kind of creative intelligence than what we realise. And then through life we develop it if we're willing to, you know, to take that raw talent and play with it.
Well, I notice when you're on stage, it's interesting because you are a musician, but you seem to channel the energy from your music, and it doesn't matter. I've seen you do the same performance or the same song 4 times, it's always different. There's a different meaning to it or a different energy. Does that happen all the time for you?
That's so amazing that you picked that up, so intuitive.
Or just little things that you'll do. I watched your head flick, or sometimes it's, she's right with it now, and then other times you'll see that same beat, there'll be something different.
Yes, it's very true. I'm very much about what's happening in the moment with every person that's in the audience. It kind of creates a field, and it's very unique. Yeah, so I never really know what's going to happen as well.
So what do you class yourself as today when you're out there marketing yourself? Do you say I'm a medium, a clairvoyant, a musician? How do you pitch yourself these days?
This is a real difficult dinner party conversation question. You know, what do you do for a living? It's like, oh, what's it going to be today? But it's kind of a spiritual healer, and then I have these different ways through writing and dance and music, and there's no word for it, so I try to be.
I'll tell you what a word. We did your cards the other night at a dinner party at my place, and the word that everybody said at the end of it was amazing. Like, those cards were amazing. People were sitting there flawless, and I'm like, look, you know what? I have a bit of intuition and I understand what you're going through, but this card could not have been the most perfect card for you. Look at it. It's absolutely perfect for what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. If that can be a job description, that's fantastic.
So what are you hoping for in the next 12 months? What are you working towards at the moment?
Look, I try to be really open, but I am working on, there's an online training program that's just started, and I'll be doing another intake of that, and that's been amazing actually. There have been people from all around the world that have joined in that. And I'll be going to the States as well, which will be exciting.
Great.
Just connecting with new people and just being open to what the divine wants me to do. Because long ago, I gave up making too many plans because it just ended up being you have to surrender it and kind of go with what's happening.
I think that's human nature. I think we're as kids we don't follow those paths. As we get older, we follow these indoctrinated, stupid rules that we think. Well, we're taught it at school. We're taught right and wrong. We're taught mathematics, and there's no grey in between. But I sort of operate on there's 5,000 shades of grey, and I really don't think you can plan too far ahead at all because. The cosmos has a very strange way of sometimes whacking you on the back of the head and saying, no, that's not what you're meant to be doing.
And you also don't want to kind of shut yourself off from opportunities that can sometimes, appear out of the blue and can be amazing. And that's happened many times for me. So I try to be open, be clear about what has meaning for me, but also just allow the universe to guide me.
And your final piece of advice, one piece of advice for people watching today, what should they be doing with their lives in your mind?
Be true to yourself. And don't be afraid to be you, even if you think part of it is a little bit weird. That's the stuff that people can find the most interesting and really love you for.
That's great words of advice. Well, thank you, Alana, again for a wonderful interview, and it was nice to see you again. Another year has gone by. The Festival of Dreams 2016 with Alana Fairchild.